What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another book review. I'm, as always, your grateful host, Cam Williamson, and today we are back with not only another Colleen Hoover book, but the third book of the Slam series. We're talking about This Girl by Colleen Hoover. I'm going to get right into the book, reading the back of it. You guys know how we formulate these. I'll read the back, give a quick plot overview, especially this is 3 of 3. If you haven't read the first 2, there's really no way I can spoil these books because I would be spoiling everything if you're jumping in to listen about the third book in a series. So if you haven't read the other 2, don't listen to this because this is directly about the other 2 books because it's the third. We get it. Okay. Colleen Hoover's New York Times best-selling Slam series has brought countless readers to their knees with a whirlwind of love, passion, and heartache. Laken and Will's love has managed to withstand the toughest of circumstances, and the young lovers, now married, are beginning to feel safe and secure in their union. As much as Laken relishes their new life together, she finds herself wanting to know everything there is to know about her husband. Even though Will makes it clear he prefers to keep the painful memories of the past where they belong, still he can't resist his wife's pleas. And so he begins to untangle his side of the story, revealing for the first time his most intimate feelings and thoughts, retelling both the good and the bad moments, and sharing a few shocking confessions of his own from the time when they first met. In This Girl, Will tells the story of their complicated relationship from his point of view. Their future rests on how well they deal with the past in the final installment of the beloved Slam series. Okay, Laken, Will, if you guys know how the other stories have gone. They take care of their brothers individually. Laken's mother, Julia, died. Both of his parents died. So they both take care of their brothers. They end up living across the street from each other. Will is a teacher. Laken ends up, after their first date, being in his class. Oh no, student teacher, can't do that. Even though their ages aren't that different, he's like a student teacher. But he's filling in, can't do that. They're very responsible, whatever. They make it through all their tribulations, and now they're on their honeymoon. Will tells his side of everything that we already know from the first 2 books. So this book is a retelling of the first 2 books. I'll save my opinion for what we would usually call the spoiler section of it. I will tell you, you don't need to read this book. If you've read the first 2, you get it. You're not going to gain anything else really from this story. I feel like in this book, This Girl by Colleen Hoover, this was either difficulty for Colleen Hoover as an author to let these characters go, her publication, like the money that was coming from the first 2 books in this series, and they wanted another one, or it was just another release date had come up and she had to put something out. It was interesting to me because my mother was in town as I started this book, and she was like, wow, I didn't realize Colleen Hoover had so many books. How do these people put up so many books? Stephen King has like 2,000 or some crazy shit. And I was like, I don't know. It's a good question. Well, then as I'm reading this book, I'm, getting through the chapters of it, and I'm like, well, I think sometimes they just put out filler books because this book was completely unnecessary. And that might just be me that felt that way. But, I didn't need this book to know Will's perspective. I knew Will's perspective. They were going back and forth. You knew. So we didn't gain anything. And for all of this book essentially happened in the span of a conversation on their honeymoon bed. You're like, what are we doing? Because they're replaying, if they're supposed to be getting to know the most intimate parts of each other, they're only replaying exactly what they just went through. They didn't really talk anything about prior to them meeting, how their lives were before that. There was none of that. They just shared a couple unknown conversations and a few stories that the other one hadn't heard about during that time when they were trying to keep their distance. So I guess we'll go on to the spoiler section now. As an overall rating in this book, I would give it like a 2 out of 5. If we were doing stars, if we were doing out of 10, I would give this like a 4. It just felt super unnecessary. If you're going to do a third in a book, you got to really come off with a bang. You got to give us something good, or you got to give us a real fairy tale, ending that we want to see. And I just don't feel like any of that happened. It left you going, yeah, okay, all right. And one thing I'll end this portion of the video on is I really love these characters, Laken and Will. I like them a lot. So when it came to the second book, I wanted more. When I found out there was a third, I was excited. Getting through the book, I was like, I'm done with this. And I don't think that's ever the goal, right? It's not like, I'm done with this. I got everything I wanted out of the story. It was like, yeah, I mean, I guess you do in the end of this one. But again, go read it if you want to read it. And here we go. We'll do spoilers in 3, 2, 1. I could talk more candidly. So yeah, this book was completely unnecessary. You didn't gain any new knowledge. They left the honeymoon. They end up back at home, and life goes on as it's going to go on. And I just was almost annoyed at how Colleen Hoover put this out as a new book. This could have come off as like an extra. Like, I don't even think you call this another book in the series because, again, nothing new happened. They went on their honeymoon. You could have added that to the epilogue of the last one. I don't know why. I was very annoyed by this one. And, the one thing that was even super annoying was when they were having space, one of the big reveals, is that Will was forced to go on a date kind of by Eddie to help get over Laken and be like, hey, get out there, find somebody, you're really down about all this. And Will was like, I really liked her. She was really great, but she wasn't Laken. And Laken's like, oh, and, they made Laken very pouty in this one. They keep talking about how she's being very pouty, and maybe she's just trying to be, like, sexy pouty on her honeymoon, whatever. I don't know. Maybe because Point of Retreat was all about how they were waiting to have sex this whole time, really. And then this whole book is in between them ravishing each other. They're telling, oh, this is what I thought during that. Oh, my gosh, I didn't know you were thinking about, there was a conversation where Julia and Will tells Laken more about a conversation than what she knew that they had. And she was like, I had no idea, that my mom had said these things to you or asked you to behave in these ways, or that she gave you approval, or that she told you that she had cancer first. There was a lot of different things that Julia, before her passing, had done to set things right in her kid's life. A lot of messages, and I forgot to mention in my second review of the second book, I forgot to mention how she would fold up little stars with pieces of advice. Well, she was still supposed to give, I guess, Laken's brother was supposed to give her these wedding gifts. Like the day that her first child was born, it's his job to give her a gift. And then he has one for Will as well. And it's Julia saying, like, you're going to be the best father ever. I already know it. So it was one of those things where you were like, yeah, cool. But we got the messages from Julia from the other side in the stars that were all folded up in the second one. We don't need to keep it going. You could have had them have a baby in the second one. I don't know. I thought it was completely unnecessary, almost like this video is starting to feel, because that's all I can really say about it. There was no need to write this book. And honestly, if you've read the first two, I don't think there's any reason to read this one. So that's just my opinion. Let me know what you think. I read also Without Merit, so I will be reviewing that one next. And we'll see you in the next review. Go ahead and hit the like button. Subscribe so you see everything. Hit the bell if you want to see it as soon as we drop it. Love you.